Welcome to our second segment in the program Remembering Nunda Area Businesses, Part 4. In this video, Phil Cox will be talking about Melvin Downs and the coal business in Nunda.
Don't know me, I'm Phil Cox. I've been around for quite a while. I live in the town of Portage, but on a big road. And I'm going to try and talk about Melvin Downs.
Okay. I'll get the light in just a second.
Okay. Yes, he was a school bus driver for 27 years. Most anybody that's been in school for a while knew him, because there were very few buses back then. And this is his draft registration. And he was quite a big man. He of course, he was over 200 pounds, was 6 foot tall, ruddy complexion. He had brown hair, and he had quite a deep voice, as I remember. But there again, he's in our bus driver lineup there. He's over on the right side there at the end. This is a very good picture of him. Yeah. And so, as I say, he drove a bus for 27 years, so he was well known to most of the students from my age on. Anyway. Now the coal sheds, that he started in the coal business, and where you see that, it says coal sheds there, so that was where he worked out of. Now there was another one, let's see, is this one in that one? Yeah, the coal sheds there were just sheds. And I can't remember, it seems as though there was a colliery, when they unloaded the rail cars, they had a pocket down there and a chain drive thing that took it up and threw it out into the different bends. And I think I can remember that, but I'm not sure. And I've never seen a picture of it again. So the Melvin company had the coal sales, or this area, for now they probably just had maybe 2 or 3 brands of coal, because they had districts that they would give you for a certain brand of coal. So if you were a coal dealer, you could go, say, within 10 miles, or probably back then maybe 25 miles. And a lot of Salzburg here, remember him?
Remember his wife better.
Oh yes.
She was her 6th grade teacher.
Yeah. They hired Melvin Downs to run this part here. He was a driver at this time, and this is an interesting little article here. One day he was unloading a coal car, and apparently the car had pocketed or got capped over with probably. Now this was in the summertime, so it wouldn't be ice, but it was probably coal with lots of dust on it, and it got wet, and so it kind of adhered together. Well, he jumped on coal, and he went down in and got completely covered up. And Eleanor Christie was watching, and she saw one hand sticking out. So she ran over and to the condensary across the street, screaming for help, and she got Russell Stamp and Tom Smith. They were both people that I remember. Robert Dembia and Fred O'Connell, I remember him well too. And they went over, and within a few minutes they dug him out. But if it hadn't been for them, it hadn't been for her alerting them to it, why, we wouldn't have had any more history to tell. But so that was interesting for us. I imagine it wasn't for him. The hard coal came in all sizes. Now I'll tell you the different sizes here in a few minutes. But notice the phone numbers: 66. Oh, these are their summer ads. So The top one is when Melvin Downs was the manager, and the bottom one is, of course, he was still manager then, but he was the delivery guy then. So he bought it in 1940, November of 1940 is when he started his coal business. And but before that, he was a partner to the guy up in Dalton, because he gave him this company down here to run. That was Iceman. Some of you remember. So this here tells you all the coal sizes, and I see they've left one out because there's a soft coal, buck, pea, rice, chestnut stove, and there's another one, barley. And they're all for different sizes of grates and sizes of stoves, and whether, of course, the rice is the main coal that you use for a furnace, a self-feeder furnace, and the chestnut was for like parlor stoves. The stoves, coals was for the bigger chunks. Stove and egg, both were for the big stove furnaces, and they would hold longer, and of course the soft coal was sold for most. It gave you lots of heat. Some of them burned out in their houses, but I know when I bought the coal company, I couldn't sell it, so I took it home. I was going to use it in the garage. Well, my wife did her washing in the morning, and of course she went to work and hung it outside on the line, and I worked all day in the garage. I had a soft coal fire going, and boy, I didn't notice it until she brought it to my attention, but soot all over the clothes.
Oh,
Got hell on that one. So, yes, there's a Redding is one of the brands of coal that Melvin sold. So, what else did I have here?
Want to go to the picture?
Yes. Now, let's see.
We'll blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, the coal sheds are up there in that, right there. Oh, they're down here now. They moved. And that's where the coal sheds were. Now, that must have been, Melvin must have been doing it about the same way the rest of us did. He had it dumped in there, but he got it by car, by rail. And as I remember, those rail cars were short. They were like, a 40-foot rail car was a big car back then, and they had usually 20 to 30 tons of coal in them, which now they would probably hold 100 tons. But anyway, they would bring it down and dump it in those sheds there.
How did they get the coal off the rail car?
Well,
By hand? They didn't shovel it off by hand?
No, they had it. They came out the bottom. Had the chutes on the bottom that opened up. And that's why he was up on top, trying to stomp them down in, I guess, when he got covered. But he would load it down there, and take it up to his scale up on the corner of Buffalo and 436, 4th Street. And he had a scale up there that was, I think it was 15 ton or something like that, because I used it for years. He also had a siding up here just beyond the scale house, and went around the curve, and there was some cement slabs there. And they had coal out there in different bins, like, you know, so people would come down there and shovel their coal up in the bags or pails or whatever they wanted, and then they'd take them up on the scale. And that was right by his office there. And so I can't remember whether I heard when Vera Downs was, well, that was Melvin's second wife. She was the secretary there, and she told me she did all the bookwork for him. And let's see, he also weighed scrap iron and stuff for the back during the war years, 1942 on, I guess, for the scrap iron and stuff like that.
Phil, is that white building Mac's garage? I don't know.
It's got to be the lumberyard.
Oh, the lumberyard, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were right behind the
I see.
lumberyard, and there was another barn there that I also owned at the time. I didn't own the land, so Larry bought the buildings, and well, we traded them for a roof for my garage, and he kept the buildings, and they're still there. The long shed is anyway. What else was around there?
So Melvin sold to,
Oh, Melvin sold out to Freddie Welch in 1966, and Freddie ran it until 1979. And Melvin also had a backhoe, which he worked with in the summertime. And Fred Welch bought the backhoe and the dump trucks and a small bulldozer. And that's who I bought from in 1979. I bought the coal business, ran it till 2017. And that's it, yeah, he was 65 years old when he died. He was born in 1914 and died in 1966. I guess, I thought he lived after he retired, but.
yeah, he died in 1970s.
Oh yes, 1970 is when he died. So he didn't live too long afterward. Just goes to show you got to keep on working. You can't give up.
Melvin was my cousin.
Oh yes?
Yeah.
Phil, I remember in front of the law office for many years, there was a scale there that was Frank Robinson's office, like, and he was a coal dealer, of course, and undertaker, I guess, or dealt with caskets or something. Do you remember that scale out there right in front of the law office? Right where you would park your car for a number of years.
No, I don't. You mean up in front
On
of
First Street.
the law office?
Yeah, that's,
I don't remember that.
yeah.
Now this other scale when you were talking about, that's that little house that's on like the point of land that's still there, that's just
Yes.
they've just put a new siding or something on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
My son owns that house. He doesn't own the land. That's still railroad property. I don't think they've donated it back to anybody yet, and I think they still own it. But yeah, there was a scale there, and I used it. And I don't think the only person that ever checked it was Howard Shute, and he was a Bureau of Weights and Measures for that county up there, for Livingston County. They never. He was they only checked it once, and that's all. And then when I got my scales up to my place, they they had a guy come up and check them for the county, and it was $25. And for the last 10 or 15 years, it's been over 300. So they had to, they got that one jacked up. And when I bought the coal business from Fred Welch, I was all up greasing the equipment and looking it over on a Monday morning after I bought it. And I said, Freddie Welch come up, and he said, no. Phil, he said, I forgot to tell you one thing. He said, you gotta hire me. He said, I don't care what you pay me, but I gotta work. So he worked for me for 2.5 years. And
I thought you were going to say $2.50.
yeah, so I paid him, I think, around $100 a week. And he said, oh, that's funny. He just wanted enough to take him and Flossie out for dinner. And the coal when I bought it, the price of a ton of coal was $39 a ton. And when I quit, it was $265.
Oh boy.
So, and now it's pretty much a defunct business because they've decided that the coal is too we have more of that than we have anything else that they know of, but they don't do it yet.
That Eleanor Christie that saved his life, would she have been Eleanor Shoemaker in later years, or do I have that mixed up?
I don't know about that. I didn't know Eleanor. Was there any other questions?
You wanna go back to work?
So what did you do with all your equipment and all that stuff?
Well, I sold it to my son, and he worked it for 2 or 3 years, and he said, I told him to start with don't quit your day job because you're not going to make it in the coal business just alone. So he works for the state. He's got 2 state houses he takes care of, and he said, Dad, I can't handle it no more. I said, that's all right, I'm not going back at it. So, I guess nobody else has any questions. I'll sit down if I can get back to my chair.
Well, thank you, Phil.